Time is 6 p.m., December 5th, 2023. I call to order this regular meeting of the Oconee County Council. Let's begin with a moment of silence. All right, Mr. David Root, would you pray for me?
Yes. Pray with me if you'd like to. Dear Father, thank you for this time of year. As we end the year, help us to finish strong, not finish strong in our own strength or by our own agendas, but consistent with your strength, your power and plan, what is good and perfect and true. And thank you for this time of the year where we can focus on really what is important. Most of all, our family, friends, overall meaning on you, on love. Help us to keep our eyes there and to live moment by moment in gratitude. In your name I pray. Amen.
Mr. Dick Mangrum, would you lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we have approval of minutes for the November 21st, 2023 regular meeting minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Motion, Mr. Elliott, second, Mr. Hart. Any discussion or changes? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
That is four oh.
All right, next is county attorney comments, Mr. David Root.
I do not have any, Mr. Chairman.
No comments, Mr. Root. Thank you. Next is county administrator comments, Ms. Amanda Brock.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's very unlikely that the attorney and I are quiet on the same evening, but by just fate of luck, we are. I have nothing either, sir.
Thank you, Ms. Brock. Next, we have public comment session. So as a reminder, you have 5 minutes to speak. When you get to the 4-minute mark, I will hold up a yellow 1-minute warning sign. And when the 5 minutes elapses, I'll hold up the red stop sign.
Mr. Andy Whiten.
Good evening, council. I'd like to start off by saying thank you for your continued prayers and support for Lucas Watts. He's a dear friend of mine, and he's part of our Young Farmer Rancher group with the Farm Bureau. He just really continues to need the county's prayers, and healing touch from God. Also, I want to come before y'all tonight, not just as a concerned farmer from Oakway and Fairplay area, also as a citizen, a tax-paying citizen. I understand that there's been a $25 million bond that's been put up and for Sewer South. And we were told back in last January and February that Sewer South was going to exit 1. It would be pressurized, you couldn't tap onto it, and then maybe in a couple of years it would go up to exit 4. Well, now we're going to exit 4. And from what I'm hearing, it's only going to cost $5 million roughly to go to exit 4. So I guess my question to council and the administration is, what's the other $20 million going to be used for? Is that going to be used to expand sewer on up into this 2.5 mile buffer we have now that I have seen? It's got a mile buffer and then also a 2.5 mile buffer. We were told them again it would only be a 1/2 mile buffer. That's where the industry and development would stop. And I've also spoke to several people and can't get a clear answer on what the plan is for Sewer South and how far this is going to come, how this is going to affect rural living and the farmland in the southern end of the county. My concern is also for the people that have moved here from other states, other areas of the country, to find their little piece of heaven. They've moved here to enjoy Oconee County just like it is. They moved on the lake, got their lake lots, they bought their 5 to 10, 20 acre mini farms, and I'm concerned that their world is about to be flipped upside down just like mine is. I'm having to try to make plans for the next 10 to 20 years of my operation, what I need to do. You know, am I gonna be forced completely out? Am I gonna get to stay here and have my way of life the way my dad and grandfather has, and be able to provide for my family? And the way this 2.5 mile line comes up, it's taking in 25 chicken houses, poultry houses, and about 2,000 acres of production farmland, whether that be row crops, hay, pasture, regardless. My other concern is the wetlands and the forest lands that this is gonna take out. You're gonna run up into the Beaver Dam watershed. That's used for a lot of recreation, brings a lot of people into the county for hunting and fishing. My other concern is I attended the sewer authority's meeting last night, and they had a public comment session, and we spoke our piece, you know, how we was concerned, and by the end of the meeting, we had more answers than they did. They don't know how far this thing is going. They don't know the capacities. They don't know how to expand their facilities, their corner-offs to take in this extra sewage. I guess I'd just like to have some answers from council, from administration, on what is actually taking place in our county. And now I have actually seen, pretty sure I've seen the guy riding around, and I was confirmed last night, there's a developer here from Austin, Texas, or Houston, that's riding around picking out properties that he wants to develop and purchase, that's not even for sale. I don't understand how we as a county can support someone coming into our county and doing this kind of legwork when we don't even have a plan on what we're actually gonna do. Just please keep us in mind. Thank God for every meal, and remember us farmers when you lay down tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Andy.
Mr. Billy Chastain.
I actually didn't want to speak. I thought we had to sign in. I apologize for that.
Okay. Mr. Ben Murphy.
He told me the same thing, but I'll get up and say something. Don't you love friends?
You're welcome.
I farm on the northern end of the county, and what I see happening in the southern end of the county is concerning. You know, we have some of the prettiest country in the state, I believe. And I would really like to see more focus on agriculture and forestry, fishing, wild game, whatever it is, than I would commercial and housing developments. And I don't think we need any more self-storage units and boat storage units in the county. We got, I don't know how many of those things. Every time you turn around, there's one popping up in a new spot. But I just like more focus, like I said, on agriculture and keeping the county pretty, because a lot of our tourism comes from how pretty our county is. And how you gonna have tourism if you got a factory and subdivisions, houses butted up one to another? We'll be just like Greenville County, and I don't know about y'all, but I don't wanna live in Greenville County. That's why I'm in Oconee County. But that's all I got to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Murphy.
Mr. Elijah Gambrell.
Good evening. I'd like to start by saying I don't like to do this. I don't want to have to be here, and I don't want to have to be involved in this, but I feel like I feel led to be up here and speak to you about just some of the facts and figures of agriculture in our county. I'd like for that to be a consideration here. I think this is one of the most, adding on to his point, I feel like this is one of the most beautiful places on earth, and I think we're starting to move away from that with all the development. I'm not naive enough to believe that we're going to stop development completely, and I don't think that we should, honestly. I just think we need to have a good plan for it. I think that it needs to be controlled. I think that we need to have infrastructure in place. Like Andy was saying, I feel like some of the capacity that we have for this sewer is already not enough. I think we should really be focusing on that end before we go out to find areas to service when we can't handle if we have some of this commercial development. I think we need to be set up to where we can handle it already before we think about expanding further. But then I just have some figures for you. Since 2015, the United States of America has lost 12.39 million acres of ag land. That's over 1.8 million acres a year. Ag and forestry, this is moving on to our state. Ag and forestry is worth $46 billion to the state of South Carolina. 1 out of 9 jobs in South Carolina is agricultural based. Poultry and eggs are the #1 commodity in Oconee County in agriculture and for the state of South Carolina. So here's some other facts. We're the 6th fastest growing state in terms of population, people moving here, and we've been estimated as the 8th most in danger state of losing ag land. So from 01 to 16, I don't have any stats for the period from 16 to today. We lost 280,000 acres in the state of South Carolina to development. And my personal estimation or guess is that we've lost more than that since then. I mean, I'm just want to leave with a couple of questions for you to consider whenever you're considering this. What about the southern part of our county makes it so great, and what will this Sewer South project do to it? Are decisions being made in a way that offers no personal gain to members of the council and their businesses? And what will their children and grandchildren do for food when the farmer can no longer compete for land? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gabriel.
We have Mr. Ron Solinsik.
Yeah, I just had, I noticed in the meeting minutes for the, County Planning Commission on October 16th, that they approved an ordinance for the development of commercial junkyards, and they said it was going to be forwarded to the council for their approval. It's been over a month and a half, and I haven't seen any action taken on it. I was just wondering what the status was. That's my comment.
Thank you.
That's all for this evening.
Thank you, Ms. Jennifer. All right, next we have council member comments.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. I'd first like to, wish the citizens of Coney County a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and please be safe. This is a dangerous time of the year on the roads, and I just wish all citizens would be safe. Council, everyone got an email from Ms. Brock last week about the announced subdivisions that have come through in the last 2 years. President Ronald Reagan once said, "A failure to plan is a plan to fail." Council, we are failing as a council to plan, to develop standards, and to quality control growth in our county. We as council keep kicking the problem down the road. It takes thought, it takes plans, and most of all, it takes guts. Again, President Ronald Reagan once said, "A failure to plan is a plan to fail." Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Elliott.
I'd like to say, echo exactly what he said about the Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, but he's wrong on what Reagan said. That was Paul Kane that said that, and I've heard him say it 50 times.
Ronald Reagan said it way before Paul Kane was ever born.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hart. Any other comments?
Yeah, just touching base a little bit on Sewer South and the project. In my opinion, if I was council chairman, I would schedule a meeting strictly to talk about Sewer South now that the bond has came through, all the approval process has been there, to talk about the plans set forth, what was presented to receive the bond. And there hasn't been anything out there. It's actually been really, really quiet, which is interesting to me. It's not the sewer authority that's driving this project, it's council that's driving the project. And we're not looking at a long-term cost associated with doing this. If we don't have capacity issues now, but if Sewer South goes under 60 to 70% capacity, who's gonna expand the sewer authority? The plant, is that their responsibility, or is it our responsibility because we're needing additional capacity to continue growing in this county? There's multitude of projects that we're unable to have, I guess, going forward, or we're having to turn down because of lack of sewer capacity, all across the county. So, to me, we need to look at the entire project, not just a specific corridor. I understand this is gonna happen regardless. That's the fastest I've ever seen a bond push through in the history of it without revealing, in my opinion, what the plans are. The maps, the 1 mile, 2 mile, 3 mile, I actually haven't seen that. I actually saw it at a Farm Bureau thing. It was brought up. I don't know who created that. I don't know if the county created it, did a council member create it, or is it just, something that somebody created in GIS? And I'm a council member. So I sit up here, are we gonna talk about the plans? Are you gonna talk to where y'all think the money should go, what the long-term plans is? Because I keep finding out about it with little meetings on the side, and I think people they wanna hear it publicly. If y'all got plans about it, talk about it. I think we're past the whole, secrecy world of it, or past the executive session portion of it. Why is what you presented, why is that not completely public and sent out there so everybody can see what it is? Why is it all through the sewer authority? Why are we, in my opinion, we're hiding behind the sewer authority, and the sewer authority's going, we don't know what's going on. So when people contact them, they're referring back to us, and then we're referring back to the sewer authority. So I think to me, in January, there needs to be a meeting scheduled where it's just strictly about the 85 corridor sewer. And that would be my recommendation, at least in the middle of January.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. Any other comments?
Yes, sir. I don't know how much of my information is true, but I think it is. I think Mr. Justin Abels, I gave him a map created by the GIS department using I-85 as the center line and offsetting it 2 miles. He has that map so you can look at it. That's not set in concrete, but it's to where you farmers can look at it and see how it's going to affect you, and we want your input on it. And you was asking about the cost of exit 4. Now, to the best of my memory, exit 4 is going to cost $2.8 million, is what they have estimated. Now, the last time they did an estimate on Sewer South, it was about half of what it turned out to be. So that's a little bit that I know, and I don't know how much of that is exactly right.
Any other comments?
Who created the GIS map? Like who requested 1 mile, 2 mile, 3 mile stuff?
I did. Now, I think it was already one created with 3 miles and one with, I think, Mr. Tim Donalds had one with 2.5 miles. But the 2 miles that was created actually cuts right through the Golden Corners.
But I think people are understanding that as we're looking to run sewer 2 miles. And I haven't been in discussions, that's why I was asking why that.
That's supposed to be a buffer to where our industry will go up to that 2 miles and cut off, and the farmers be protected.
But most of them are in that. My farm on Cedar Lane Road's not far out. It's not 2 miles, 3 miles, but
Well,
I was just trying to figure out, when I saw it, I didn't know where it came from, so, and I didn't know why the original buffer was really talking about exit 4, 3, which really doesn't exist, but 2 and 1, and it wasn't talking about 2 and 3 miles in. I think, to me, that's what the concern that was kind of brought up in there about, why are we looking 2 and 3 miles in? Because that, to me, everything that I heard, every farmer that has called me is coming off of that concern on that map, like we're trying to run sewer 2 to 3 miles in. I haven't been in those, I'm not in favor of that, because I think that ruins that entire area. I mean, I continue to hear, well, these farmers are gonna sell their land and they're gonna be millionaires. Well, they could sell their land right now and do the same thing. I think, to me, farming is more important to them than money. So, I mean, I haven't heard one person go, oh, I can't wait to sell my 300 acres. All of them are concerned with the long term, why is this coming 2 to 3 miles in? And my response is that it's not. So,
Well, this was just a feeler put out for the farmers to look at. And like I say, I gave it to Mr. Abels, and he is the head of the Farm Bureau. So he's, I think, the president or administrator of it. And he was gonna talk with the other chicken farmers and see how they felt about it. And that's what we're trying to do, get an input from the farmers.
I think it's pretty clear.
Any other comments? So I was surprised to hear that the sewer authority told you they had no idea what was going on. The plan that we've discussed, that we voted on, was drew up and designed by Chris Eliezer, the executive director of the sewer authority. I've spoken with Mayor Ramey also, and he's also aware of that. So I think maybe the second council meeting in January, we can invite Mr. Eliezer to come and present that plan. So,
But this is not, the sewer authority is not driving sewer south.
again, he drew up the plan that we all discussed, that was actually discussed before I came back, right? So it would be good to have him come, present that plan in the detail beyond what Councilman Hart can present it, since he's the one who designed it and came up with the concept.
But it's not the sewer authority driving sewer south, it's council.
That's correct, but who knows how to lay pipe and sewer? The sewer authority does, and the director, and he designed the plan. Any other comments?
When we had a meeting up here, I can't remember the date of it, when we had the sewer authority folks here. I know Brian Ramey was here, Chris Eliezer was here, the ACOG guy was here. I made a recommendation that they all get together, because they come up here and acted like the right hand didn't know what the left hand was doing. I made a suggestion that not one of us, but somebody from the county, maybe you or whoever, Ms. Brock, could be on a committee to iron out all these differences. And I haven't heard any results from that, because the ACOG guy took the action to put that together and hadn't heard anything from that.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to address that one comment,
Yes, Ms.
please.
Brock.
So, Mr. Mize, a committee of council would have to be an open committee and would have to be in a public forum and follow under FOIA. After that first meeting, Mr. Hart, Ship from ACOG, Chris Eliezer, Brian Ramey, and I met privately in my office just to hash out whatever roundtable discussions could be had. There was not a follow-up meeting scheduled after that. I don't feel like that sewer south would be an appropriate topic for a committee meeting of that nature. I feel like in some ways that would be a better topic for Mr. Eliezer and council to have a conversation. This apparently has been some significant miscommunication. I'd also like to speak, if I may, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, ma'am.
Anytime a council member requests a map from GIS, that council member can receive the map, but because it was not a council topic at the time and it was up for discussion, Nick provided that map to Mr. Hart. I did receive a copy of it. At the time, I wasn't aware that Mr. Hart was gonna share it, or I would have shared it with council. Apologies.
And I see that the map that, Mr. Hart requested is just a reference document to
And
show.
it's not to scale, to my knowledge. I was looking through my phone to see if I had a copy of it. I don't have it in my email. It may be on a server email, but I don't have it on my phone email. I do not believe that one is to scale. Mr. Hart, if you don't mind, I'm gonna ask a question. Was this the one that you said that the points were not correct and that it was taken from a radius standpoint from I-85?
I think it's to scale
Okay, it
at
is to scale.
certain places, but the radius, when he offset I-85, he freehanded in the last part of it. He made the arc come back in closer to 85 than it actually should.
Just for public record, that is not an official map of any kind. It was a map
No.
for some ideas and ideological discussions. It is not a county map. It has not ever been included in backup. It has never been brought forward discussion, and it's most certainly not a secret map. It was a map a council member requested for information for his own purposes to share with constituents in his district.
And I think that's a great idea. Maybe there needs to be another map generated that shows a 1 mile buffer, a 1.5 mile buffer, a 2 mile buffer, and get the input from the farmers, to see who is gonna be impacted and by how much.
I believe that was the intent, Mr. Hart. I'm not trying to speak on your behalf. I believe that was the intent of that. That there were 3 different color lines, if I remember correctly. Yellow, blue, pink, yellow, red, pink,
It
something.
was a 1 mile, a 2 mile, and a 3.5
Okay,
mile.
that's right.
Okay,
I think it was just for viewing
it's
purposes.
for reference, but it's been taken as an official document.
Right, right.
There's a lot of, I'll call disinformation being put out by various groups.
And if anyone wants a copy of that map, please just stop by and email me. I can provide copies of that through our GIS office. I just did not know it would be of interest to anyone.
Well, personally, when a council member gives a document to someone, it is an official document. May not be, hey, here's what it's gonna be, but that's what it was perceived by, and this wasn't the group. This was actually, through Farm Bureau all the way into Columbia, and that's where the calls are coming from. So, that's what I'm saying, just, when, I don't know if any other council member up here has created their own sewer map. I haven't. Mr. Durham, you created a sewer map that I don't know about?
No, but I think it's a good idea for council members to do research on their own before things come up in meetings. Because it may be a dead issue before
How can
it
it be
comes
an
forward.
official document?
No, because when a council member hands something to the general public, they look at it as, that's where this came from. It came from the farmer side of things of concern. So what my statement is that if this was brought up at the Farm Bureau, and I didn't have any knowledge of it, so I don't have any issue with it, if it's something that we wanted to work on together. But it's great to have knowledge. I know y'all weren't able to come to the meeting, we're not able to go to everything. Y'all go to stuff that I'm unable to as well. But that's all I'm just saying. If you own council, when you hand somebody a document, that's kind of what happens when it goes and runs. It's not the first time it's happened, so.
With your knowledge of all this, could you tell me the words that I told him when I gave him that? I told him, I said, this is something to look at. Y'all look at it and see what it takes to make y'all happy. I said, this is just a sketch. If you want to bring it back or if you want to take it forward. He looked at it and he said, oh, this one right here is next to my farm. This one here, oh, I think this will be fine. You mind if I keep it? I said, no, go ahead and keep it.
Well, that's, again, why I'm stating it'd probably be good to have a meeting just on sewer and not push everything and say, hey, Chris Eliezer, tell us all this stuff. That's just my opinion. I'm not the one that calls the meetings.
I believe Mr. Eliezer needs to get more involved in what he's getting involved.
Any other comments? All right, hearing none, we'll move to public hearing. Open public hearing on ordinance 2023-20, an ordinance authorizing, one, the execution and delivery of a public infrastructure reimbursement agreement by and between Oconee County and Seneca Cotton Mill Owner LLC in connection with the establishment of certain facilities located in Oconee County. 2, the benefits of a multi-county industrial or business park to be made available to Seneca Cotton Mill Owner LLC and the project site. And 3, other related matters.
There are no speakers, Mr. Chairman.
No one signed up to speak. Would anybody like to speak? All right, hearing none, I close public hearing on ordinance 2023-20. Next is third reading of the following ordinances. Ordinance 2023-20. Previously read, it's on the monitors in front of you and on the screens.
I make a motion.
You make a motion, Mr. Hart?
Second.
Second, Mr. Elliott. Any discussion?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. I think this is going to change the landscape of Seneca and Oconee County, and I welcome the owner and wish him luck and success in this project.
Thank you, Mr. Elliott.
I've got a question. Has that been annexed into the city of Seneca?
Mr. Chairman,
Chairman, not that I'm aware of at this time.
it has not.
Okay.
And you'll read within the documents, in the event that it is annexed, Seneca, they talked to Seneca, and Seneca is on board with it, and when it is annexed, if and when it's annexed, then the city would get a portion of the fee, but it's a pro rata portion, so same percentage that they would have gotten had it been subject to ad valorem taxes. So they're on board, their consent is part of this whole package of documents.
That's the reason I asked the question. I seen where they had to go through their, city council, and I just wondered if it had been annexed and I didn't hear about it.
I don't think they filed the petition yet.
Thank you, Mr. Hart. Any other comments?
Yes, I'm excited about the project. I know it's been talked about a lot. Multiple people have looked at that. They're also very interested in keeping the history of that area alive, which is really important, and also making sure to not, take over that area. They've done a really good job and thought that through. And they've actually helped a lot of the homeowners around that area. So great to have them part of Oconee County looking forward to that project.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. Any other comments?
I'd just like to make one comment. I know they've already got their plans, but I took a look at the drawing, the rendering drawing. And, they talk about phase 1, phase 2. I don't know how they decided as to which buildings they were gonna take in the different phases. But, I would have done it differently. I would have tried to took in the two largest ones to begin with, which are facing the road. But, that's just my opinion. I would have done it differently. But I'm glad to see that they are coming. It will change the whole landscape of Utica. Glad to see it.
Thank you, Mr. Miles. Well, it's gonna be great to see, what happens, what transpires over the next few years. And, you've seen that type of project have success in other areas, so no more comments. All in favor?
Please call vote.
Next, I have second reading of the following ordinance. Ordinance 2023-21, an ordinance authorizing the execution and delivery of a residential lease agreement between Oconee County as lessor and James Kent Crooks as leasee for certain real property, including all improvements therein located at 207 Crooks Road, Seneca, South Carolina, and other matters related thereto.
Make a motion.
Motion, Mr. Hart.
Second.
Second, Mr. Miles. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Please call vote.
All right, first reading of the following ordinances. Ordinance 2023-24, an ordinance to rezone parcel 177-00-02-184 from the control-free district to the late residential district pursuant to Oconee County Code of Ordinances, Chapter 38, Article 8.
So moved.
Second.
Motion, Mr. Elliott, second, Mr. Hart. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Please call vote.
I will have first and final reading on the following resolutions. Resolution 2023-21, a resolution authorizing the acceptance by Oconee County of certain easements and/or other rights related to property located in Oconee County, positioned at or adjacent to SC Highway 11 and US Interstate 85, and other matters related thereto. Have a motion?
Make a motion.
Mr. Hart, motion.
Second.
Second, Mr. Mize. Any discussion?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. Land is not free. A free lunch is never free. I can't bind this council and future councils to be beholden to this property owner for sewer service. Again, there's no such thing as a free lunch. Therefore, I'm voting no.
Thank you, Mr. Elliott. Any other comments?
One concern I had, there wasn't, we talked earlier about which side of 85 the sewer was gonna come up and there wasn't really much talk about, when I brought up about, is it gonna run under 85? And if it wasn't gonna run under 85, then why are we running it all the way down to exit 1 where there's no land on that side? And, this kinda came up about, hey, this individual's willing to give, right away on that side. Okay, that's fine. The issue I have is when you read it, it pretty much says that the, council agrees to make an effort to run sewer to that property. It doesn't say when, it doesn't say what amount, but it just says the intent of him giving that right of way, is so council will make an effort to run sewer to that, parcel. My issue with that is, it's exactly why there needs to be a meeting to actually talk about if council's intent is to run sewer 1 mile, 2 mile, or 3 miles from the interstate, or to run it down Highway 11, or to run it, further on down 59 so people can tie into it, or to run it down exit 4. If we don't like what a group is saying, why aren't we communicating as a council and allowing either another party to communicate, a newsletter to communicate, or maps that kind of get thrown around with the intent was actually to have discussion, and I agree with that. I think the intent was positive. So that to me is why are we having a resolution to say, oh, we're gonna, if we take this, our effort's gonna be to run sewer to that parcel. I hope that area develops down there, because how else are we ever gonna pay for all the sewer? When and if that occurs, to me, that's when the developer or council makes a decision, depending on that, to run it then. I don't know about doing a resolution to where it states that council's intent is to run sewer to a specific parcel. To me, that's again why the discussion needs to be held in January. It needs to strictly be a meeting about sewer.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
can I bring back the words that I think I heard in here? Something about planning. If you don't plan, you plan to fail. Did I hear that in here? Thank you.
Mr. Hart, thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to table this resolution, ordinance.
I have a motion to table the ordinance. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor of tabling the ordinance?
Aye.
All opposed?
That is 2-3.
Okay, is there any other discussion? I hear none. All in favor? All opposed?
Aye.
That is 3-2.
Discussion regarding action items, procurement number, ITB 23-08, concrete repair and additions for the Department of Solid Waste, the amount of $187,327, with a 10% contingency of $18,732.70, for a total of $206,059.70. Procurement was approved by council in fiscal year 2023 2024 budget process. Budget $206,059.70. Project cost $206,059.70 with a balance of $0. Since this is based on estimated quantities, it is staff's recommendation that council approve the award of 1TB 23-08 to Lewis McMahon of West Union, South Carolina for the estimated amount of $187,327 and a 10% contingency in the amount of $18,732.70 for a total award of $206,059.70. We have a motion.
Make a motion.
Motion, Mr. Hart.
Second.
Second. Any discussion?
Yeah, I just have one question, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
I haven't seen the construction of these, and I know concrete wires, and it looks like the wires coming from, these big roll-off containers off these trucks. My only question is, will the new pads be constructed such that they'll have embedded steel plate where the skid, when the skids come down on it, that you're not wearing the concrete?
I was looking to make sure that my comment was actually correct. I have received an affirmative head nod from the solid waste director that they are. Keep in mind that there are 19 pads under repair, and there are 13 for extension, and that the steel rails would be under the repair part.
Okay, which should extend the life of them.
Yes, sir.
Any other comments? Hearing none, all in favor?
That is 5-0.
I have 2023 Dodge Ram 2500 for the Department of Emergency Services, amount of $52,515. Procurement was approved by council in fiscal year 2023-24 budget process. Budget $52,515. Project cost $52,515 for a balance of $0. Funding is from the Fire Emergency Services Capital Vehicle Equipment and Small Capital Fund 335. It's from Santee Automotive of Manning, South Carolina, and it's also on the SC State contract holder for Dodge vehicles. It is the staff's recommendation that council approve the purchase of one 2023 Dodge Ram from Santee Automotive of Manning, South Carolina, in the amount of $52,515.
Make a motion.
Motion, Mr. Hart.
Second.
Second, Mr. Miles. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
That is 5-0.
All right, we have a Komatsu WA 388 wheel loader for the Department of Solid Waste, amount of $385,562.28. Procurement was approved by council in fiscal year 2023-24 budget process. Budget $385,562.28. Project cost $385,562.28, leaving a balance of $0. Funding is from the 340 one-time capital equipment fund. It is staff's recommendation that council, one, approve the purchase of the Komatsu WA 380-8 wheel loader for Industrial Machinery Company of Greer, South Carolina, in the amount of $385,562.28, and approve the trade-in of the 2008 John Deere 624J wheel loader.
Make a motion.
Motion, Mr. Hart.
I'll second.
Second, Mr. Miles. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
That is 5-0.
Next is two 2023 Dodge Durangos and one 2023 Dodge Ram from the Sheriff's Department. That's an amount of $129,315. Procurement was approved by council in fiscal year 2023-24 budget process. Budget $129,315. Project cost $129,315. Balance of $0. Funding is from the Capital Equipment 325 Vehicle Fund, and it's from Santee Automotive of Manning, South Carolina, and that's on the state contract holder for Dodge vehicles. It is staff's recommendation that council approve the purchase of two 2023 Dodge Durangos and 1 Dodge Ram from Santee Automotive on Manning in the amount of $129,315.
Make a motion.
Motion,
Second.
Mr. Mize, second, Mr. Hart. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
That is 5-0.
Okay, we have no council committee reports. We have no board and commission appointments. So next, we're gonna need a motion to enter executive session to, 1, discuss and receive legal advice related to a contractual matter regarding public safety. 2, discussion regarding a contractual matter related to the city of Walhalla. 3, discussion regarding a personnel matter related to the county administrator.
Make a motion.
Motion,
Second.
second. All in favor?
That is 5-0.
Return from executive session.
So moved.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Mr. Root?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, do need a couple of motions stemming from executive session. First, in relation to the second item regarding a contractual matter with the city of Walhalla. Need a motion to direct the county administrator and the county attorney to draft and deliver to Walhalla an addendum to the fire contract to continue under the existing terms until June 30 of 2024.
So moved.
Motion
Second.
second, all in favor?
That is 5-0.
Sir, the second item relates to item number 3. And this is regarding a personnel matter for the county administrator. Need a motion to increase the vacation accrual amount, cap for the county administrator by 170 hours with the option for her to cash out up to 75 hours each December of the calendar year, end of the calendar year.
So moved.
First motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
And just to
5-0.
add that in there, I will draft it naturally and the chair will sign it.
Okay.
Everybody good with that? Sorry, I should have stated that.
Motion to adjourn,
Make a motion.
second, all in favor?
Aye.